Welcome back to another edition of Action Video Game Talk. This is Scott Action Jackson, and let's get right into the news. The roster of fighters for the upcoming Super Smash Bros. Title on the Wii U and 3DS just got its 22nd edition, in the form of the Pokemon Lucario. Creator Masahiro Sakurai revealed that the team has increased the influence of the aura this time, so a damaged Lucario is truly a force to be reckoned with. Alright, Lucario is the 22nd fighter for the Super Smash Bros. Or Smash Bros. Game, coming out for the Wii U and 3DS. It's weird that they don't dip back into the old school Pokemon and just say, we're gonna have Mewtwo. No, they gotta throw in the Lucario instead, but Lucario, Mewtwo, it's about the same thing. Nintendo is currently localizing Tomodachi Collection, New Life, for an overseas launch according to a report in the Wall Street Journal. Tomodachi Collection New Life is a simulation game for the Nintendo 3DS originally released in Japan back in April 2013. It stars Mii characters that interact with each other in daily life activities. The Wall Street Journal report does not specify whether Tomodachi Collection will release in both Europe and the US. So this was listed as an alternative Animal Crossing, but the more I look at it, especially the images, it looks more like a Animal Crossing meets The Sims meets the Miiverse. But I think it'll be a curious little game when it comes out in the US. People who have played Animal Crossing and probably have played the Sims games will probably be curious about it. Theatrhythm Final Fantasy Current Call will arrive on 3DS on April 24th in Japan, Square Enix announced. According to Gamatsu, which translated information from FF Reunion, Theatrhythm Final Fantasy Current Call will also be available as part of a special 3DS XL bundle. That bundle includes a customized black 3DS XL with the download of the game on an SD card for 26,000 yen, about $226 US. Theatrhythm Final Fantasy Current Call is in development at Square Enix and Indies Zero. Release dates and localization plans outside of Japan aren't yet available. I remember seeing the first one that came out for the 3DS. It was probably maybe a year or two ago, and maybe they sold a lot of them over in Japan and decided to make a sequel. I don't know if it sold that well here in the US, unless it's got enough of a following for them to maybe eventually port it over to the US at some point when they announce it. If they want to eventually bring it over to the US, go right ahead. Respawn's co-founder, Vince Zampella, tweeted out the specs necessary to play the PC version of Titanfall, which is shown right here. In a follow-up tweet, he also confirmed that Titanfall will require Origin. Though there are no plans for Mac release, he also tweeted that Respawn are talking about it as a possible option following the initial release of the PC, Xbox 360, and Xbox One versions. Now, it is always nice to get some of these PC specs ahead of time before the game comes out, so that people with gaming PCs or laptop or whatever has enough power to actually play the game. With the launch of Titanfall just over a month away, Electronic Arts has announced that the Xbox 360 version will be delayed until March 25th in North America and March 28th in Europe. No specific reason for delay was provided, but it will have no impact on the release of the Xbox One or PC versions. In these last few weeks before the launch, Respawn is in the final stages of polishing the Xbox One and PC versions of the game. Bluepoint, the Austin, Texas-based developer responsible for bringing Titanfall to 360, is doing the same thing with the Xbox 360 version, wrote EA Studios executive vice president, to give them the time they need to put the finishing touches on the current gen version of the game. We are moving the Xbox 360 ship date to March 25th in North America and March 28th in Europe. The extra 2 weeks will ensure the full world of Xbox gamers have an awesome experience. So about a 14-day difference between the Xbox One version and the Xbox 360 version. I don't see any issues with that. I mean, as long as they, make it about as good as the Xbox One version, as close as they can. And there shouldn't be any real issue with this little delay. The next installment of Red vs. Blue is on its way. Rooster Teeth is charging Xbox controllers and booting up Forge mode. Although this announcement may raise some questions, they'd simply like to present you with an image, a date, and a question for your own. What do you fight for? We're here to begin with this. For those of you who don't know, Rooster Teeth started off this Red vs. Blue project using the first Halo game with the point of view of the actual characters in multiplayer mode, and just started recording it. And they've just been doing it since, the first Halo, Halo 2, Halo 3, and Halo. They probably used Halo 4 for like some of the previous seasons. But the fact that they've actually gotten to season 12 is kind of amazing. And for a series like this, they could have stopped at season 10. As you can tell, I'm kind of a fan of the Red vs. Blue series, and I do enjoy watching it, along with their PSAs that they make once in a while. The Order 1886 developer, Ready at Dawn, has confirmed that the late 2014 PlayStation 4 title will be single-player only. Confirmation comes from an interview the game's creative director did with Germany website Play3.de, where he describes the game as a single-player action game. Later, Ready at Dawn founder confirmed the info in a tweet. Now, this bit of news doesn't sound good at all. And with all that they were saying about the Order 1886, them saying that there's going to be no multiplayer for this game, it kind of is a bit of a letdown. After hearing this, I don't think I would really be that interested in it. With the PlayStation Plus this week, the Instant Game Collection will see 2 new additions when the PlayStation Store updates. PlayStation 4 owners will have access to the Fright-Filled Outlast. Red Barrels has found success on PC and is bringing the terror of exploring Mount Massive Asylum to console. PlayStation 3 Plus members will be getting Metro Last Light. 4A Games' sequel to the Metro 2033 returns players to the post-nuclear Russian underground. These are 2 very interesting free games for the PlayStation Plus members. The Outlast game, I've heard, is very frightening and should not be played with the lights off. Now, as far as the Metro Last Light, I've heard the first Metro 2033 was awesome. I have not heard anything about the Last Light game. I actually downloaded both of these, so we'll see how it goes. Disney is reportedly working to bring more of its properties into the Infinity family. With Disney in control of the Marvel and Star Wars universes, many Infinity fans have been hopeful for playsets and characters from these worlds. It seems those are, in fact, happening. According to the Wall Street Journal, 2 sets are currently in development, although details about how they will be implemented were not revealed. One question that's been surrounding Disney Infinity itself has been what other franchises it could bring in. Now, this bit of news shows that some Marvel and Star Wars franchises are coming to Disney Infinity, although it doesn't say how, who, and when, but it is nice to know that there are some on the way. Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor is a single-player only experience, and so won't feature any form of co-op or multiplayer. The news comes courtesy of the developer's Twitter account, which also confirmed the game is currently not in development for Wii U. Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor is expected on PS4, PS3, Xbox One, Xbox 360, and PC later this year. The question I have is, why can't these developers these awesome games to have multiplayer experiences? Now, not too long ago, maybe I think last month, apparently the developer from I think Assassin's Creed 2 and 3 talked about how this Shadow of Mordor is borrowed from their engine or something, and if it took those guys maybe 3 or 4 games to do multiplayer, and this is going to be next gen, why couldn't they get the multiplayer in with it? Square Enix has revealed the box art for Murdered: Sole Suspect, the upcoming detective game where you're tasked with solving your own murder. Though there's currently no release date for the game, it's expected in the second quarter of this year. on PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. Now, when I first saw the teaser for this Murdered Soul Suspect game, it looked awesome, and then I started reading about it, and it reminded me of something else, and then it's like, wait, this reminds me of the Nintendo DS game Ghost Trick. So it's more or less an next-gen version of Ghost Trick. Once we have more gameplay footage, longer trailer, additional info about it, we'll probably have a better opinion on it. Gearbox has announced Borderlands 2's next DLC, Mad Max Z and the Wedding Day Massacre. The Valentine's Day themed pack will be out on February 11th, 2014 for $2.99 and will be the fourth Headhunter DLC for Borderlands 2. Mad Max Z and the Wedding Day Massacre revisits the feud between Borderlands 2's Hu Dunk and Zhao Ford families, who were last seen in the main game's Clan War mission. This time, a Goliath from each family will soon be married, and Moxie has the Vault Hunters gathering ingredients to make a love potion to guarantee that things go smoothly. Gearbox also confirmed the fifth Headhunter pack, Sir Hemlock and the Son of Kral Mirax, will be coming in April. That pack will mark the final DLC for Borderlands 2, nearly 18 months after the game was originally released back in September 2012. So this description of the DLC coming out for Borderlands 2 this month sounds fun. And then they finally announced the last DLC for Borderlands 2. And was there been like 5 or 6 after they made their Game of the Year version of Borderlands 2? So hopefully that means that they'll make a retail copy called the Complete Edition, so that they'll have all of it onto one disc. South Park: The Stick of Truth will not make use of Ubisoft's Uplay platform, according to the developer Obsidian. The news was confirmed by the studio's Twitter, which also revealed that the game will instead be fully integrated with Steam on PC. This means that you can expect Steam achievements and other perks that come with titles on Valve's platform. With as much as South Park has been pushed back a year, another year, something like this is more like, okay, whatever. As long as it's not pushed back another year or two. Ubisoft has announced Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag's Freedom Cry DLC will be released as a standalone title. Freedom Cry will be available via download on February 18th in North America and February 19th in Europe, with the PC version on the way on February 25th. The fact that it's standalone means you don't need to buy Black Flag in order to play it. I think Ubisoft also did Far Cry 3, and it sounds like what they also did with the DLC on that called Blood Dragon, I think, where it was just a standalone DLC and it didn't need the actual Far Cry 3 game to go with it. And I still think this Freedom Cry should still be part of the Season Pass that came with Assassin's Creed 4. According to a preview of a near-finished game in the latest print edition of Game Informer magazine, Metal Gear Solid 5 Ground Zero's campaign can be completed in 2 hours. As reported by Kotaku, Game Informer finished the main mission in the prequel to Metal Gear Solid 5 Phantom Pain in less than 2 hours, although it's important to note that this did not include side quests or extra modes. Metal Gear Solid creators said the prequel serves as something of a tutorial for the main game, and has a relatively small field in comparison. The Phantom Pain he has promised will be hundreds of times larger. 2 hours? Only 2 hours? For something like that, they should just make it a downloadable content, let alone just add it on to the Phantom Pain when it comes out later. It seems like you should just get it when the full Metal Gear Solid 5 The Phantom Pain comes out. This year's Call of Duty is in development at Sledgehammer Games, Activision revealed. For the first time, this year's Call of Duty game and future Call of Duty games are being built on a 3-year development cycle, the publisher also revealed. There are several advantages to doing this. The first is, of course, quality. This will give our designers more time to envision and to innovate. This would put developer Treyarch's presumed next Call of Duty in a 2015 release window, with Infinity Ward following suit in 2016. Now, the good thing about this, with Sledgehammer Games also developing the Call of Duty game, is that we get a little bit more variety too now. So with more variety of like 3 different companies making Call of Duty games, that should hopefully make them a little bit better, instead of some of them copying and pasting some of their programming. It is now time for that part of the show where we list off this past week's releases that came out. First up, we got Bravely Default for the Nintendo 3DS, Fable Anniversary Edition for the Xbox 360, the Lego Movie video game for Nintendo 3DS, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, Wii U, Xbox 360, Xbox One. And finally, Outlast came out for PlayStation 4 as a download. That does wrap up the show. So, once again, be leaving a link down below for, I think, the previous episode, along with the first one if you want to go back that far, along with a link to the Facebook page if you want to get around and checking that out. So until the next episode, bye.
I'm Anna.
And who's the fucking donkey over there?
That's Sven.
Uh-huh. And who's the reindeer?
Sven?